Hello, welcome to the Journey to Jewel call. We are excited that you're here. Thanks for spending some evening time on Sunday with us. It is the last Sunday of March. Hard to believe. Where is 2021 going? I'm not really sure. I am very excited about our guest tonight. I just had the pleasure of meeting her last month. She is on the Roz's power team. As Raz likes to say, that she is her next one to hit emerald because she knows it's coming. That's how Roz talks about you. But Sarah just has such a incredible story. She has a heart of gold, and she is not all that far from us in the Midwest here. So to meet more people here in the Midwest with us that are on our Sideline Sisters, which is absolutely amazing, and I love it. So without further ado, Sarah, all yours.
Okay. What I love about being so close to you all and your team is that maybe we can sometimes coordinate flights out of Kansas City together. That would be so much fun. So, well, hello everyone. I am just honored to be here and to be able to chat with you and tell you a little bit about my story. And then I'm going to touch a little bit on customer and ambassador retention after I share a little bit of my testimonial with you. So I am a senior Ruby ambassador. I'm a level 1 to Roz. I've been an ambassador for 7 years. Started almost exactly 7 years ago, on or about March 7th. I actually scrolled back through my messages with Roz today as I was getting ready to do this, and I scrolled all the way back to March 7th, 8th, and found my messages to her about starting with Plexus. So that was kind of fun because I had actually forgotten a few of the details. So anyway, so my story probably starts out a lot like y'all's. And I was not feeling my best. I had a sweet tooth. I thought I could feel better. I wanted to feel better. I was actually approaching 40. And so I decided there was no better time than the present, no better time than the year I turned 40 to start taking care of myself, right? Like the other 40 years didn't count. But the day that I decided that it was a go, like I needed to do this, I remember this day so vividly. My husband and I were going to speak at an event. And on the way there, I got 2 donuts because it was before church in the morning. And then when I got there, we went to church, we sat down for lunch. And lunch was something and sweet tea. So of course, then I had sweet tea. And then I finished it off with cheesecake. Okay. I felt so terrible. It was on the drive home that Sunday that I just decided I couldn't do it anymore. My body felt bad. I knew it, and I needed something to help me change. I had tried too many times before on my own, and always there was just something that wouldn't allow me to actually ever reach my goal. And so anyway, that was the day that I decided to jump in with Roz. I'd actually sent her a message about 2 months before, actually, about Probio 5 for my son because he struggled with ADHD. And so anyway, I didn't even remember that little piece of my story, but I initially reached out to her because of him, but that is not the reason why I actually jumped in. It was purely for me, and actually a little bit for my husband too. My husband, Tony, struggled with sugar addiction way beyond mine. Just to give you a brief example, he would go through a bag of Jolly Ranchers every single day. So I'm not even sure how many calories it is. He knows, he knows off the back of his hand. I want to say it's more than 2,000 calories. So he never ate his meals. He was always sick to his stomach. We were starting to limit the places that he could go eat because everything would send him to the bathroom. Well, he had massive gut health issues. that were then affecting his sleep. And his sleep was essentially what drove him to want to try Plexus. He had developed an anxiety around going to sleep. And so when he woke up in the morning, he wouldn't wake up feeling rested. And so that was his breaking point. Mine was sugar. His was never sugar. So even though that was the root of his problem, but he has an amazing story too. But anyway, so when I decided to jump into Plexus, I had a little bit of an internal battle. I'm a physical therapist, and so I was trained in very traditional medical practices. Supplements were not condoned, were not recommended. Got to check with your pharmacist before you start those supplements, and a lot of pharmacists don't even know about supplements, really. So anyway, I felt like before I jumped into Plexus that I needed to do my research, because I wanted to be associated with a company that had integrity, but I also didn't want to take something that was hurting me. So there was a dual component there to my research. But I remember sitting down, I printed off all of the ingredient lists for the triplex. And one by one, I went and searched through PubMed, which in the medical world, that's where you go to get your good solid medical advice, especially on all things ingredients. So I did my search. I tried to poke holes. I couldn't poke holes. Everything was coming back, and all of a sudden, really, puzzle pieces started to fit together in my mind. I'm a physical therapist, but I also work in the hospital. So I work with patients who have come in because they're very, very sick, or they've come in because they've had a surgery, like a total knee or a total hip or back surgery. So I see people when they're sick. But what I was finding as a physical therapist, when I did a chart review on each patient that I saw, it was my responsibility to know their past medical history, because that plays an important role in how I would treat them. And so I had started to notice over the years, I've been a PT for 17 years, that I was writing the same 3 things on almost all of my patients. Those 3 things were osteoarthritis, which is just plain old arthritis, diabetes mellitus, diabetes type 2, and hypertension, which is high blood pressure. As I started digging through these ingredients, before I had even pulled the trigger on myself, I was like, holy cow, all of these are related to inflammation and gut health and blood sugar. And that's exactly what Plexus products are actually addressing. And so it was almost like this, I just wanted it to feel better, but all of a sudden I realized the number of people who could benefit from this same information. So I don't know that I initially intended to work the business. I signed up as a wholesale ambassador because I needed to get the best price. At that point, we were $20,000 in debt. We had started a new small business 2 years prior. All of our savings had gone into that. We were barely scraping by. And in my message to Roz, when I scrolled back today, I noticed that I said, hey, I think you need to talk to me about maybe joining a team, because I might need the income too. So, so I did not start off thinking that I was going to become a business building ambassador. But once I knew the information, once I put those puzzle pieces together and realized I could be a caregiver from the supplement side of things, and approaching things proactively instead of reactively in the hospital when people are 70 and 80 years old and sick, I knew that once I had that information, I couldn't not share. Like I was not being true to myself if I didn't actually share the information. And that just so happened to mean that I needed to be a business building ambassador. So to me, it was a caregiving sharing my story has been a caregiving role that has been just a fantastic experience, and I'm grateful that I've been able to share more about gut health and to be on the leading edge. We are on the leading edge of teaching people about gut health and inflammation and blood sugar. As a physical therapist, I used to think that you only had blood sugar problems if you were a diabetic, or if you had hypoglycemia, or if you had hyperglycemia. But I wasn't putting two and two together, right? I was experiencing driving home from work at the end of the day, 4 o'clock, 4:30. I only lived 2 minutes from home between work and home, but I would close my eyes at the stoplight while I was stopped, obviously, because I was tired, like I was drained. My blood sugar was crashing. That's why I had blood sugar issues. And as a PT, as a knowledgeable medical professional, I didn't put two and two together. So anyway, Plexus has been an amazing opportunity to be able to share life-changing help with people. So that is a little bit of my story. I wanted to go ahead and move into just a little bit about customer and ambassador retention. And I'm probably going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes here. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do have a few things that I think that are really, really important to being able to retain your customers and ambassadors. So first, I want to say this with just as much gusto as I can. I would not be associated with Plexus if it were not a company that produced quality products and that had integrity and character that was unmatched. I truly believe that. I've believed it since day one, and 7 years later, I believe it still. Plexus makes it easy to serve our customers and our downlines really, really well. I've never, in all of my 7 years, we don't benefit as ambassadors financially if our customers don't also benefit. Does that make sense? Like, we never have to worry about asking them to do something that's going to benefit us, that's not also going to benefit them. I love that about our company, and that makes it super duper easy to serve our people well. So first things first, I've got 2 things actually. Number 1 is getting them plugged into the right place to begin with. Okay, that's the first thing. Number 2 is serving them well. Okay, I'm going to jump back to number 1. So getting them plugged into the right place. So we know that we can have people order as retail customers, preferred customers, or ambassadors, right? I never recommend retail ambassador. Don't waste the money. It's too easy to go in and change the monthly subscription. I just always recommend preferred customer. They can save money, and we can get a preferred customer bonus. So that's the equality of the benefits of having someone sign up as a preferred customer. But there are 3 things I think that you need to consider when you're trying to plug someone into the right place. Number 1, are they considering the business? I mean, that's obvious, right? If they're considering the business, you would sign them up as a wholesale ambassador. They would join the company. Okay. If they're not considering the business, then you need to know, how much do you think they're going to order? How much are they going to order? So this is where we start looking at personal volume and PV. If they order under 100 PV, you want to stick them in as a preferred customer. What I love about preferred customers is that Plexus rewards people with a 10% additional discount off of preferred customer pricing whenever they pass that 4th month in a subscription. So really, after month 5, when they get to month 5, 6, 7, they're getting really close actually to ambassador pricing, which is phenomenal. So we're already rewarding our preferred customers. But if you have someone who's going to be over 100 PV, then all of a sudden you can think, okay, well, maybe they're better as an ambassador. Okay, so you can have someone over 100 PV as a preferred customer or an ambassador, but the question that you need to ask then is how committed they are. Sometimes if you have a good relationship with them and this is just the kind of friendship that you have, you can ask that question. So tell me, how committed are you? Or even if you're not a good friend, I think you could word it well enough. So how long do you want to try this? You know, what's your plan? What are you thinking? The reason I bring up commitment is because you don't want to have somebody sign up as an ambassador, start ordering 100 PV, and then drop off to 25 PV with a bottle of ProBio 5 3 months into it. Because then what happens? They are not earning Plexus perks anymore. They're not getting the best benefit from their membership because they're not commission qualified. They also now are not counting towards Plexus points for you. So they would be worth 5 points to you if they were getting over 100 PV, but now they're just ordering and their order is not valuable to anyone, not even themselves. So commitment is important. What I usually say is 4 to 6 months. 6 months is ideal. If they can't commit to 6 months, then they're better off as a preferred customer. And actually the best way to determine if someone is going to make a good ambassador and they're going to be committed is to have them sign up as a preferred customer first. They can always be transferred over to an ambassador. And I've often heard it said that the preferred customers make the best ambassadors. And that's very true. They've tried the product, they're committed, they know all about what's going on. And so they're ready to become an ambassador. And that's, it's a good, using preferred customer as a way to ease somebody into an ambassador if you're not sure of their commitment is a really simple but effective way of making sure they're plugged into the right place. The impetus then that just falls on you to make sure you're keeping up with them and offering that opportunity when the time is right, like when it's $1. All right, so the second part of that, so we got them plugged into the right place. The next thing is we just need to serve them well. So we want to make sure that they're connected. We want to make sure that we've set them up well with instructions prior to the products arriving. They don't have any questions, that they're able to start right when they get the products. So make sure that you've connected them in terms of providing them the information that they need to get started, and for them to know that you're there to answer any questions that they have. We have a resource and testimonial page for our team that we literally just put product information and testimonials on. It's a private page, and we pull ambassadors and customers on our team into that page. We can tag them then in testimonials or product information posts that might benefit them. When we add someone initially, so if someone, let's say, is a diabetic, we can go into our testimonials and do a search for diabetes and then tag them in those posts so that they have something to reference. They have stories that have already been shared. It helps to build their belief. And so that's another good way to connect people, is to just share more stories and testimonials, and to make sure that they have the information that they need on the products for those researchers out there for sure. And of course, if you're an ambassador, add them to a team page and let them see the business side of things. Do you guys have a business page, Tori? Yes. Yeah. Team page. I assumed you would. Okay.
I was going to say, for clarification for our people, we've got the Journey to Jewel, which is our team page, which has a little bit of everything in it. If people are business minded, then Melissa, our closest diamond now, has the Passionate Pursuit page, which really is for the business builders. And then I just wrote in the chat, our testimonial Facebook page is The Journey Begins With You. And so that has all the testimonies, but same thing, you can add people to that, you can tag them in each individual post, and so that way they can see it and say, hey, I thought this of you, or send it to them via message if they're in the group.
Yeah.
So
thank you for that. It's always good to hear how other people have their team structured, you know, how they utilize team pages and group pages and such. That's good. Okay. So let's see. So we're serving them well, we're adding them to the pages that they need to be added to, we're resourcing them with information. Those information sheets that Plexus has are amazing for the people who really need the information and want to dig a little bit deeper. The second part of that is just communication. So once you have ensured that they have all of the information that they need to get started, make sure that you're following up with them at least 3 times in that first month. So what I generally do is I'll touch base with them and give them instructions before they get started. And I usually ask them to send me a message when they do get started, so I know their start date. And then I will follow up a week later, and then a week, probably another week later, and then more towards the end of their month. So I'm making sure that I get 3 touches in with them once they have their products in hand in that first month. And then I move to an every month follow-up with them, and always let them know that they can reach out to me whenever they need anything, for sure. Something I always like to mention to my newer ambassadors is to make sure that you use the form of communication that they prefer to use, which is sometimes hard for me because some people really like to talk on the phone, and I am not a phone talker. I'm not. Like, I will try to I'll try to slide over to messages, or I'll send a Facebook Messenger, and then they still want to call me. And that's when I have to say, okay, I'm going to call, because that's obviously how they like to communicate. So communicate with your people how they prefer to be communicated with. It goes a long way. Last thing on this one is, remember the relationship. Plexus is a very small part of your relationship with people. So don't let it become the majority of your conversation, or the majority of the time that you spend together. Usually, I kind of have an unspoken rule, actually. If I'm spending time with a friend who is also a Plexus customer, I generally don't bring Plexus up when I'm with them in person unless they bring it up first, because I don't want that to be the primary driver for our relationship. I feel like the relationship is more important than just Plexus, and I want them to know that I value them for their relationship, not because they're a customer. Okay. Last thing on this one, always look for opportunities to serve them well. So I've already mentioned that I love to help. I love to save money personally, but I also love to help my people save money. So some of the ways that you can help people save money is by helping them go from retail to preferred, because some people are just going to buy retail because they're just skeptical. They don't want a monthly commitment. They're just unsure. And so they're going to start with retail no matter what you tell them. Okay. Move them to preferred. It's an easy way to save money. Once they have some experience with Plexus and they know how you're going to interact with them, then they'll be more comfortable with doing that. Maintaining a monthly subscription to earn that 10% additional discount every month is a good way to save money. Moving from a preferred customer to an ambassador. The ability to earn Plexus perks. If you have an ambassador, teach them about Plexus perks. How do you earn Plexus perks? How do you spend Plexus perks? What's the point of Plexus perks? It's getting free product. It's a great perk to being an ambassador. Another thing that I love is just combining orders to save on shipping. So I use this actually a lot for ambassadors who have been with me for a while, but who have slipped under 100 PV for some odd reason, maybe usually not odd. They've been an ambassador for a long time. They just only order ProBio 5 and BioCleanse every month now. They've dropped the Slim at some point and they just don't order it anymore. So I will have them order 2 months worth of ProBio 5 and BioCleanse to get over 100 PV. That saves them 1 month of shipping. So they're only paying for 1 month of shipping instead of 2. It also gets their PV over 100, so they're commission qualified. It enables them to earn perks credits. The hardest part with that is just you have to help them remember to move their order back a month or ahead a month so that they don't end up getting double orders on back-to-back months. Does that make sense? So it takes a little more work on your part, but it gets them over 100 PV and it saves them money and it benefits them in a lot of ways as well. And it gets you your 5 points if they're an ambassador. So let's see. Reaching out to people about new products and promotions, and then connecting them with testimonials, which we've already talked about on that resource page for testimonials and stories and such. So one thing that I did want to also say is that, especially when I went back and looked at my messages with Roz tonight, it was interesting because I reached out to her initially in January and I didn't actually do anything with it until March. I wasn't ready in January. I was really ready in March. Like I hit my breaking point in March. So I guess my point in that is people are going to stick around when they're really ready to jump in. So don't worry so much about when people are actually going to jump in. Just keep planting the seeds, keep sowing the seeds, keep watering the relationship, keep doing all of the things. And when they come around, when they decide that they're drawing the line in the sand, they will come to you and then they will be ready. And then you will have your customer, you will have a really good shot at keeping and maintaining that customer for a long, long time. So that's all I have to share. And I went way long and I'm so sorry.
No, that was great. That was great. I'll just ask real quick if Jody or Michelle have any questions about suggestions for customers. I mean, you guys are talking to somebody who's been in the business for 7 years. So she is a great resource.
Oh, that's a glare. Ghosting. I just had one of my flipping, Michelle Dinkins just dropped her subscription.
Okay.
And I had reached out to her about Active and Immune and, you know, seeing if she needed anything. And I went in today and I'm like, oh my gosh, canceled her subscription. So is it one of those where I'm like, I reached out, but nothing was coming back. So I don't want to, and I've known her outside of Plexus for a long time. So I don't want to like bug her about Plexus. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I was disappointed because she was like rolling good. I guess I can't take it personally.
And you know, I'll offer some insight into this. I was a very, and I still am, I'm very private. Like if I had signed up under anybody other than Roz and they kept bugging me and checking in on me all the time, Roz checked in on me initially, but I mean, she's like, she's got this, she's a PT, she knows what she's doing. I mean, I honestly didn't really want to be followed up with. And there are some people that are just like that.
Okay.
And so, and you know, she might have a very, very good reason for dropping it that she doesn't necessarily feel like talking about right now. So I would default back to, hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I was liking her post on Facebook. I mean, you know, I've known her since her son is like, second son's like 12 or 13, and I've known her since before she had him. So it's been a long time, but
a long time.
I think her husband he might have had COVID. I know he's better now, but he had been sick for several months. So it could have been that too, but you know, I'll still keep checking in on her, not like on a family level, not on a.
Keep your head up. I think so many times as ambassadors, we get in our heads about why people are stopping, and we tend to take it personally. And 99% of the time, we don't need to be taking it personally. It's not us.
One of the people who stop and like not even ordering like she should is my sister. I'm like, what the heck? You love Feta Burn and Lean. Like, I don't get it. She gets her kiddo slim. I don't get it.
The other thing too about Michelle is it may just be she has an overstock on her shelf.
Yeah.
You know, she may just be
overstock of my Active Star for guava. I know.
I bet you do. Isn't that good? But
hey, me too.
So I know I maybe just, you know, say, you know, just next message you send to her, just be it on a personal level. And then the next one you just go, hey, I noticed that your order didn't process this month. Just curious, do you have an overstock of products that you're trying to catch up on?
Okay.
Or was there something else that you're wanting to try? And then that way you can
it over again now with people. I'm like,
The only thing is I can look up while we're on the call, I'll look up and see if perks, if she's losing any perks. I don't want her to lose perks for that. So
probably a lot, because I know me personally, I have like 1,000. My mom has like 800 or 900 perks. She doesn't even know what perks are. I try to explain to her. She's like, I don't know. So, but she's 73. She's not going to figure it out. She just said, just push the order. Okay.
She's got 200. She's got 200 perks.
Oh, okay.
So, and that forfeits in a day. So if you want, you can message her and be like, hey, I noticed she got, you know, she couldn't even spend it on anything.
No.
Right? Lowest is 260.
Yeah.
But
so
anyways,
I'm just going to start from scratch now.
That's okay. That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Jody, any questions? Anything from Sarah?
I just a comment, Sarah. I think I started. It's really easy to just think that you're not doing enough with your ambassadors, and I've at least gotten to the point where I check in with them every month. My issue is more in the follow-up after they, you know what I mean, the first part of their you know what I mean, they buy it, we're waiting for the products to come, but I appreciate that you didn't say, oh, well, I check in on the 3rd day and the 7th day, and then because I just can't, I feel guilty because I didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? And then I get into this space where, oh, it's too late. I can't check in, and that's not a good space to be in either.
No. When you start telling yourself you have waited too long, then you're giving yourself more of an out to not reach out. You know what I'm saying?
That is
true.
It's
just yeah. That's like a little bit like self-sabotage, I think. So
it is.
You know, and I think you do have to feel your people out. Again, if you have a really private ambassador and, you know, they're not responding back to you very much. You just have to get okay with sending the message to check in and realizing they might not be responding back, but they're ordering every month. You know, it may take a, hey, you want to go to lunch, or something, sneaking up on them in the car line or whatever to get an in-person feel for how they're doing. So do not, 3 times a month is probably 3 times in the first month, I think is a good starting spot for all new people, customers and ambassadors, especially if they're on ProBio 5, because you're really just watching and making sure they're not experiencing any, I cannot say this, experiencing any die-off symptoms, or they're working through that process okay. But no, not the 3rd day and the 6th day. That like that sounds exhausting to me. I mean, for some people it may work for, but to me,
structure.
that feels terrible. And if you have a system in place, that's the most important part. Just make sure you have a good system in place. And if you feel like you're doing your customer service well and you're taking care of your customers well, then you likely are.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your Sunday evening, Miss Sarah, but I cannot thank you enough for coming on here.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Sorry I was late. I, forgot again.
No,
I didn't,
worries.
No, we were good.
You made it though.
We did. Siri's talking to me again. But either way, we're here. Thank you, Sarah. You were awesome. Thank you so much for spending your time. And absolutely, whether you figure out if you're going to go to convention or not in Dallas, if we're doing that, we'll have our little Midwest thread of everybody flying MCI.
We just need to pack like 3 or 6 rows on either side of the plane. I think that would be a really good way to travel.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody would be so annoyed with us. Just get them to Dallas. Just get them off the plane. Right. So, but anyways, all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. We will we will not have a call next week with it being Easter. We will do it sometime during the week. I will touch base with you though on what that is and what that looks like. So thank you guys. And the recording will be up soon.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.